Station, boys and girls, it's time for Blamephable and his amazing friends.
We take our passions and our fandoms and turn them into conversations with you.
Station. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Blamephable and his amazing friends with Nick Comic Culture. But please, without further ado, help me welcome Brother Joe.
All right. Let's see how bad I could mess this up. When it's noon on any given Saturday, I know it's almost time for Blamephable and his amazing friends. And peace will guide the planets, and love will steer the stars. This is the dawning of the Bronze Age nerd. Bronze Age nerd. The Bronze Age nerd. Harmony and understanding, sympathy and trust abounding. No more fearhood or decision. Golden living, dreams of vision, mystic crystal revelations, and the mind's true liberation. The Bronze Age nerd. The Bronze Age nerd. Boom, ba-dum. Boom, ba-dum. Boom, ba-dum, bum, bum, bum. Let the show begin. Let the show begin. The show begin. Ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. Let the show begin. Let it start. Let the show begin. The show begin. One more time now. Let the show begin. Let the show begin. The show begin.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
Too much hanging around, you guys.
I love it, man. I love these wigs, man. How many of these things do you have, bro?
It's got a closet of them, man.
I need a few, man. That's all I'm saying. I need a few. You can find me some. Send me a couple of them. I like purple, maybe a green one. What about you?
Oh yeah. Give us some pizzazz, some sparkle.
Station, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Blamephable and his amazing friends with Nick Comic Culture. Nick, man, how are you, my brother? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It was a good week, and I'm just glad to be here and being able to chat with you guys, man. It's always the best part of my weekend.
Oh yeah, brother Joe.
I'm glad you kicked your family to the curb and could make it today.
Yeah, we were gonna do some feeding the homeless and stuff. I'm like, guys, I got my priorities. I gotta be on camera, dude. I can't do that. I'm sorry. You're just got to do something else.
Oh yeah, we were giving you a lot of shit last week. If you saw,
Really, I didn't notice. I didn't hear it.
you want to be a good dad and take care of your family. How dare you? How dare you, Nick?
I know.
We love you, Nick. We love you.
Oh yeah, we love Nick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, brother Joe, man, how was your week, man?
Oh man, everything's looking good. Everything's looking good. The weather's fine, and working on my songs and stuff to keep up with you guys, and chit chatting and everything, and hanging around with Bob. Bob is a bad influence on me. When he talks me into rewriting these songs, then the song is one song and it's reworded in a different way. So I don't.
No, I loved it. I like how you worked our guest into there. Bronze Age Nerd, man. Can't wait to get him on in just a bit. But before we do that, let me bring in our second co-host, because I like to, since we moved to YouTube, I want to change things up a little bit. And I definitely have Nick as my co-host, but I want to feature more people from the Bad Batch on the show. So I have this idea for a third rotating chair here. So we got an amazing friend, right, brother Joe? Because that's all we got around here.
That's what it said in the song.
We got an amazing friend. Let me bring him in right now. Oh,
Station. This is the best I got. That's the best I got. Like that.
What is going on, Manny?
So cute.
Dude, I am super, super stoked to be on #Blamephable. And I'm super stoked that when I talk, it's not going to totally sound like I'm Soundwave. And up with the chat. Like, I'm excited to experience Blamephable the way God intended.
Well, thanks for joining me, man. On relatively short notice. You guys always come through for me, so thanks so much for joining us today. Of course, we got a crazy packed show. We're going to be talking about New York Comic Con that happened last week. Not much happened during the week. That's sort of still the biggest news, but we've had a week to think about it, to simmer on the things that came out of it. So I think it's going to be a good discussion, especially when it comes to Image Comics, because I think Image Comics dropped a bomb that a lot of people just don't I don't know if people realize how big of a bomb they dropped at that New York Comic Con, but we'll get into it. Let me just say what up to the chat. So many good people joined us today. We got my man GT Key Comic in the house. What is going on, GT Key Comic? Hell yeah. We got my brother Eric, the Stash, Durant's in the house. What is going on, my brother? We got the Troublemaker, Two Gun Pedro in the house. We got my brother Pocan Joe in the chat. Pocan Joe, how are you, man? We got my brother Jason from Heroes to Icons in the house. Jason, how are you, my brother? We got our fellow Bad Batch brother here, Big Herm Collectibles in the house. Big Herm, how are you, my brother? Who else? Oh, and we got his better half, the creative director of the Bad Batch, Maria, is in the building. Maria, how are you, man? We got my brother Sal. Sal's in the house, everybody. Sal. What's going on, Sal? How are you, man? We got the good brother John Spilio in the house. Wishing you guys a good show. Can't be there, but I am in spirit. No doubt, John. Appreciate you always just hanging out, even if it's for a few minutes, man. We know it's Saturday. We know you guys are busy. This is a lot of people's off day, so they're doing what they got to do. So anybody who just jumps in for a few minutes, it's well appreciated. But let's bring in our guest, guys, man. Bronze Age Nerd, man. This is a guy that I discovered on Instagram, I believe. And I think he put up something, a video that said top 5 comics not to buy.
Yeah.
And I said, what the hell? Top 5 comics not to buy. I haven't seen this before. This is kind of original. Yeah. So then when I checked it out, I liked the video that I saw. So immediately, you know what we do. YouTube rabbit hole. Went down that rabbit hole. Bronze Age Nerd. Boo, boo, boo. I said, I'm going to get this guy on the show. I'm going to reach out to him. And I did, and he accepted. So let's bring Bronze Age Nerd out to the stage. Oh, yeah.
Woo. Hey, Station. What's up, everybody?
Station, back at you.
What is going on, my
coming
brother?
for me already. What's going on?
Yeah. There we go. There we go. It's passing. Good to have you on the show, dude.
Thanks, Claire. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Yeah. Well, like Phable, I found you a couple of years ago, probably on YouTube, and same exact thing. You have like such the catchiest titles, the catchiest thumbs, but like what you talk about is very relevant, and it like always puts me in my place whenever I'm about to pull that card out, and I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I'll just give it a couple of more months or something like that. So I appreciate all your content too. I have a very similar story of finding out who you were.
Awesome. No, I really appreciate like the idea that people are watching my content and then thinking about things that's a high compliment to me.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Gentlemen. Now that the comedy portion's over, let me go ahead and dip out and you guys can get down to some serious business.
Absolutely,
Thanks,
brother Joe. Thank you
Joe.
always for joining us, man. That song was amazing.
Thank you for letting me come and play with you guys. Have fun.
Oh yeah. See you in the chat, brother Joe.
Later, man.
Later.
Man, I love that song. That was awesome.
Yeah.
He does a good job of customizing it for us every week. It's awesome.
But yeah, Bronze Age, thanks for joining us, brother. I'm glad you accepted my invitation to the show. Like I said, I discovered your content, went down that rabbit hole. I was like, man, this guy's got some good perspectives. Let me get this guy on, and hopefully we can introduce him to a whole other bunch of people, you know what I mean, who maybe may have never heard of you. I doubt it, but you never know, right?
Oh man, that's awesome, because I'm already getting introduced to people like I see in chat. I'm like, cool, I wonder who these people are. Like I can tell they're making their own content, that kind of stuff, people on the panel. I love it.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, thanks for coming on. Of course, this is a show where we talk about pop culture news topics. Like I said, we were going to go cover New York Comic Con 2023 that just happened. A lot of big announcements out of there. So before we start, let me just play this short little intro video that Nick made for us. It's awesome. Hold on. That is awesome, dude. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Before we get into news, we got to get into housekeeping. Oh, shit. I didn't get into housekeeping, Nick. I'm already messing up here.
Yeah, this is like our 50th show. We can't. We're already going off script. What are we doing here?
All right. We're getting into housekeeping first. All right. So before we get into the news, let me just mention, I want to thank everybody, of course, for always participating in our hashtags that we got every Friday and Saturday. Figgy Friday on Fridays, where we like to showcase our figures, our action figures of all types, pops, statues, whatever you got. We love when people post that and share their collections. Everybody gets to see what everybody's got and make some new friends. You know what I mean? That's the main thing with these hashtags. Also, throw your sets up Saturday on Saturday. Kind of self-explanatory. Just take a set of things. It doesn't matter what it is, toys, shirts, shoes, as long as it goes together and it's a theme. Throw it up on Saturday and we'll share it on our timelines and stories and on the pages and stuff. So I want to thank everybody for always doing that. Of course, I want to mention PCP Horror Fest 2023 that's going on right now. Housekeeping. PCP Horror Fest 2023. Of course, we do this little Horror Fest thing that we've been having since August, right? We started at the end of August and we just review great classic horror movies, man. I just want to tell you guys the schedule for this week. Tonight will be Dylan's Horror Show. So if you're not subscribed to Dylan's Horror Show, go over to Dylan's Horror Show on YouTube. And he's reviewing Night of the Demons. Night of the Demons, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, man. I love Night of the Demons. So jealous that I'm not on that show tonight. But then on Monday night, we're going to do Dawn of the Dead, the Argento cut on Pop Culture Philosophers over on Robbie's channel. If you don't know, that there's a running joke on PCP where we say the Argento cut for everything because Robbie is just like so into Dario Argento movies and Italian horror. So everything is like, did you see the Argento cut?
Yeah.
Did you see the Argento?
Spider-Man, the Argento cut was
Gotcha.
crazy good last week. Yeah.
So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy of a sorts because we're finally watching Dawn of the Dead. Is it Dawn of the Dead? Yeah, Dawn of the Dead, the Argento cut. So
And watch it
check out
suck.
Pop Culture Philosophers. Yeah,
Watch it be
Monday.
awful too. Watch it be awful, and the whole bit crashes after that, right? Yeah.
Then on Thursday, man, over on Blood Splatter Chatter, that's my boy Verno. Go check him out. He's going to be doing Barbarian, which is a great horror movie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a Barbarian, but I saw it for the first time, I think last year or earlier this year, and it was fantastic. Bronze Age, are you into horror movies at all?
You know, it's weird. Horror is not really my main genre. I love creature features and science fiction horror. Zombie movies I really do love. But every October I try to get into some horror movies because I usually don't watch them the rest of the year.
Right.
So I've been catching up on some classics, watching some kind of underground ones recently. Barbarian is on my list for later this month, so it's kind of cool to hear you mention that one.
Hell yeah. Definitely catch that one. That one was really good. I haven't seen much modern horror. These guys are getting me into all these A24 films and Blumhouse and all that stuff. I kind of missed out on that stuff, so I'm kind of catching up now. And man, Barbarian is really good, so definitely check that out.
Nice.
And of course, I want to mention a big event that's going on right now in our community. I'm going to put up a banner right now. It is C3. Comics Curing Cancer, man. It's this big event with all these channels in our community that linked up basically to benefit and raise money for the American Cancer Society. And right now, Rob Fat Stacks is doing his show, and they're doing their auction right now as we speak. So if you want to go over there, see if you can help out, donate, buy some comics, whatever it is that they got going on over there would be very appreciated. Of course, we just had Jen, Comics Will Break Your Heart, on our channel last week. And, as you know, she's suffering from cancer. One of our, beloved members passed away not too long ago from cancer. So this is a big deal for us. And if you can, just head on over there, see what they're doing, see if you could help in any way. I know.
Freeze frame.
We may have lost you, Phable.
Oh, how about now? Am I back?
You're back.
Yep,
you're good.
Where did I leave off on?
You were talking about supporting the cancer events, like for Jen Will Break Your Heart, or Comics Will Break Your Heart for Jen, Comics Curing Cancer.
Yeah. So yeah, Rob Fat Stacks is having his show right now as we speak. So if you guys have some time, head on over there, see what you can do to help. I don't know what they're auctioning exactly, but they've got a great auction going on.
Yeah, so it's the only slab show right now, and it's dedicated to the slabs. I think they have 26 slabs right now they're going to be going through. There's a $50 prize wheel to get your name on the wheel, and there's some hashtags involved and things like that, so you can pop over there. There's actually S-Vaughn is going on 4:30. And then we have Comic Man Andy at 6, and then we have Rob closing it out again over at 8. And then there's stuff going on all day tomorrow as well, as far as auctions and things of original art and all kinds of crazy stuff. A lot of big things are going to be auctioned off tomorrow. John's Comics with Kids just finished his stream with Rob a couple of hours ago. So yeah, they've been doing things all weekend long so far. And yeah, they've been very, very successful with that. In fact, I think they're actually already up to $33,275. Nice. So they're completely kicking ass right now. Their goal was 25,000. They're already at 33,200. And so you can hop over there and donate. And your donation goes very far because obviously it goes towards the American Cancer Society, but it also gets you on the prize wheels for those respected shows. And you can follow them over on Comics Curing Cancer on Instagram, and you can actually see their schedule, and it has links to everything that you need over there. So make sure to check those guys out anytime throughout the weekend. And yeah, your support would mean a lot to everybody.
Oh yeah. And I know you recently had Rob Fat Stacks on your channel, right, Bronze Age, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, on Monday we had him on to talk about the lineup, kind of get some more eyes on it, hopefully get some people involved. And yeah, Absolutely. I just did a fundraiser for Comics Will Break Your Heart with Jen too. So I'm all for supporting these causes.
Oh yeah. So everybody, once again, if you got some time, head on over to any of these fine people's channels. Rob Fat Stacks, S Vaughn, Comic Man Andy. I know Legion of Comics is involved, DJ Links is involved, and a whole bunch of other people. Go check them out. Go see what we can do to donate and help this cause. They already, like you said, blew past the $25,000 goal, and they're going all the way till Sunday. So it's going to be amazing to see that grand total finally. Check that out. All right, man. So now we could get into the news. All right, man. So like I was saying, New York Comic Con 2023 was last week. A lot of big announcements from the world of movies and television and comics, of course, came out of there. But, we want to focus today really on the comics. Now, DC Comics, they didn't really announce too much. What I got here, they announced that Jason Aaron is taking over DC flagship Action Comics for the next 3 months. I don't know. I know Jason Aaron just came off of The Punisher, right? That was like the last thing he did.
Yeah, he did a long Avengers run and everything just recently too. So going to be jumping over to DC to do some more work over there.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. They also announced plans to reprint Batman 428, right? This is the famous issue that killed Robin, and it's the one where they voted on whether he dies or he doesn't, and I think everybody famously voted for it to kill him, right? Well, they're printing the same issue but with the alternate ending. So I don't know if they've ever done that, but that sounds interesting.
Yes.
They also announced, let me see, John Constantine, a new Hellblazer book or something like that by Cy Spurrier and Aaron Campbell. So if anybody's a fan of the Hellblazer or John Constantine stuff, they announced a new book for that. But that's really about all I got for DC. You guys heard anything else from DC?
Nothing comes to mind.
No, those were probably the biggest ones. Those are the headlines that I saw most of. So yeah, that's probably good.
Any of those grab you at all? Anything there sound interesting or like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check.
Yeah, Bronze. Which one do you like the best? Which one are you looking forward to?
You know what? Honestly, nothing there really captured. I'm not a DC guy for the most part. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love a lot of the characters from DC. My relationship with DC has always been like, let's see how things play out. If I hear really, really, really positive things, I go read like the trade or whatever. That's kind of how I've always been with DC, just because I can't keep up with the storylines at Marvel, let alone over on DC. So I kind of let the crowdsourcing do its work for the information about what's really good, and then I kind of usually follow up on that later on, which sucks because I can't really have those conversations in the moment. But man, I only got so much time to devote to reading comic books, and I'm not primarily a DC guy.
Yeah, I think I'm right there.
Let the Wednesday Warriors kind of go through the trenches and figure out what's good and what's not good. Wait for them to report on it, and then you can kind of pick up the cream of the crop. Yeah.
But, I mean, I want to give you an answer. So my answer would anything to do with Hellblazer and John Constantine. I generally love that, so I'm very fascinated to see where they go with that, and hopefully it's good, and I'll pick it up later on and get to read the whole thing.
Oh yeah. Manny, sure. I know you read some DC. Any of that?
No.
All right, next topic.
I mean, I like Jason Aaron, so that could be cool, I guess.
That's a huge part of it. So it's on Action Comics, and I don't like Superman. Like, I mean, I don't like I hate Superman or anything like that. It's just it's been a long time since I've read a Superman story I really cared about. It's probably All-Star Superman was the last one I could think of.
Yeah. Like I said, not much from DC. But Marvel did hit us. They already had dropped the news that they about 5 titles, right? We already covered this, I think a week or two ago.
At a high
they
level,
announced 5 titles ahead of time. Ultimate Spider-Man, Resurrection of Magneto, Rise of the Powers of X, and Fall of House of X, something like that, right?
Sure.
And,
Yeah. Close enough.
and Avengers Twilight, and they already announced some titles ahead of time. But they got more into it at Comic-Con, of course, and then they announced 3 more titles, and these 3 titles are pretty interesting. I think. First up, they announced, of course, Ultimate Universe #1, right? Written by Jonathan Hickman with art by Stefano Caselli, with a cover by Bryan Hitch, and this goes on sale November 1st. So, of course, this is the continuation of Ultimate Invasion, the little 4-part series. Was it 4 or 5? Sorry, 4.
Of Invasion, I think it was 4 or 5. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It was bad. It was bad anyway, so it doesn't matter. It sucked.
Continuation of that series, which I think got a couple of mixed reviews, in my opinion. I think some people feel like it wasn't the most Hickman-y thing that they read, especially his fans. But whatever. That set up this Ultimate Universe #1, which is coming out right around the corner, about a week from now. And then they announced Ultimate Black Panther #1 coming February 2024. So Ultimate Black Panther is being written by Bryan Hill with interior art and covered by Stefano Caselli. And I'm just going to read the little synopsis that they dropped for it. It says, the new Ultimate Black Panther. In the wake of Ultimate Invasion, Khonshu and Ra, the force known together as Moon Knight, are seeking to expand their brutal control of the continent of Africa. In response, the lone bulwark against them, the isolated nation of Wakanda, will send forth its champion, its king, the Black Panther. From the creative minds of Bryan Hill, Stefano Caselli, blah, 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 comes a bold new take on the world of Black Panther and Wakanda. So I thought this was interesting because Bryan Hill is the writer of this, and I don't know if you guys have been reading Blade, but Blade has been pretty badass at Marvel.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty good.
So and plus Black Panther was also, from what I hear, because I didn't read it, maybe you guys read it, he was a little underutilized in the original Invasion Ultimate stuff. So that's pretty interesting. They're going to be featuring him more now in this Ultimate Universe. But yeah, I was more interested because Bryan Hill's on it, and I think he's doing a phenomenal job on Blade. So I just wanted to go around the horn. Guys in the chat, everybody, what do you think about Ultimate Black Panther? And I'll start with Nick. Ultimate Black Panther, you excited for this one?
Yeah, I'm excited for the creative team. First, I love the aesthetics. I have my screen share up, if you want to pull it up. So,
yes.
I have, first off, I love the covers. I just like the aesthetic of the cover. It has like a nostalgic vibe to it, but it also just is like a modern feel. And it has like a banner on the side. So we have a couple different, all the books are going to have this. So I'm excited for this one because I like the mythology collaboration that they're doing right here. I'm not exactly a big Black Panther fan, but I appreciate the legacy and the lore and the mythology behind it. And I'm digging Moon Knight, especially the last Moon Knight run and the Moon Knight run that's out right now. And I like the idea of them kind of clashing. So like, that's kind of a cool thing. I can't wait to dive more into that. And just kind of see what comes out. Great creative team. So, we'll see what happens with Black Panther. But when it comes to like Ultimate Universe, I have such a bad taste of Ultimate Invasion in my mouth right now that like, I'm not as excited for this one, to be honest with you. And Caselli's on this, and which is great, but why is Bryan Hitch doing the cover art for the very first issue? That seems a little bit weird to me. And I think they brought it up on Supreme Clientele as well recently. It was like, it's just like an odd thing to have, not the main artist on the first issue A cover. It seems kind of odd, but they do that, right? So, but it's just such a big title that you think that he would be on there. And I'm not a huge Bryan Hitch fan, to be honest with you. I'm excited for the either one of these series, and I'm a little bit hesitant on the next one that you're probably going to bring up after this. So I'll let somebody else talk about the next one.
Manny, your thoughts? Ultimate Black Panther and Ultimate Universe.
I am cautiously optimistic. I think Brian Edward Hill's a great writer. I think he's going to bring something cinematic in scope. He's very tight with his storytelling. But I'm going to be honest here. Black Panther Unconquered was not my favorite Black Panther story either. You know what I mean? Killmonger was good. It's not uncharted territory. This is kind of one of the things that I'm worried about with Ultimate Invasion is I kind of want Ultimate or the new Ultimate, whatever the hell they're calling it, to be different. And I think that like giving us writers who have already been working on these properties, like the one I'm sure you're going to bring up, the one that I'm excited to talk about, to be perfectly honest with you. I had tacos for lunch, dude. I'm excited to shit on something, but this one here, I mean, I think he's going to do fine with it. I think Stefano Caselli's going to do good. I'm a little, I don't know, X-Men artists, almost everything looks like X-Men art right now. So taking Stefano Caselli and moving him over to the Ultimate again it's not giving me anything that's like not, what do I want to say? This is a really, really good, like this is Culver's, but it's still fast food, right? It's not McDonald's, but it's Culver's. We've gotten these burgers, we've gotten these fries before. So I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, this is mind blowing.
Right.
But it's a competent team that's gonna do a really good job, a very competent job on this book.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Bronze Age, what you think, man? Ultimate Black Panther, you picking this up?
I'm definitely going to check it out, because to me, the synopsis, I actually really like the idea of taking Khonshu, taking Moon Knight, and having the battle, sort of the battle for Africa, so to speak. I think that's really a cool concept. I'm also just excited to, like, I've been wanting them to bring back or try a different version of the Ultimate Universe for a while, because I think it was something that Marvel kind of needed. Like, they keep wanting to almost like reset their continuity or do like a soft reset of their continuity. And it's just spin it off, do a new thing. And you can play with all that and not mess with the established backstories of all the characters, in my opinion. It's a great way to do that. So I love seeing this kind of thing happen again. I don't know about the execution so far, and it does make me wonder about where it's going to go down the road. But I think for me, the original Ultimate didn't really look that great at this point either. So I give it some faith, maybe we'll have a title in there that really kind of captures the imagination. The other thing I got to wonder about, there's been a lot of talk about the MCU resetting its continuity as well, kind of starting over from scratch. And if they do that, it does make me wonder, you're launching this new line of comics. A lot of stuff from the MCU kind of took some inspirations from early Ultimate stuff. Is there going to be some of that here as well? So I'm curious to read for those reasons. So I'm optimistic. I want to check it out. I do have reservations about the quality of it when it does finally, kind of all get set up and we get to see everything. But, for now, I'm just kind of hoping for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm checking this out solely for Bryan Hill. I like Bryan Hill. I was sort of disappointed in my first go around with him because I had heard about him beforehand, and then I read that Fallen Angels. Have you guys read X-Men Fallen Angels when that first round came out? And I was like, oh my God, this is the guy that everybody's talking about. This book isn't that great.
Yeah, it was really so-so.
Yeah, I was a little, but then I started reading Blade not too long ago, and Blade is fantastic. I don't know if anybody is. I know, Manny, you're probably reading Blade. I know Nick is reading Blade. Are you reading Blade at all, Bronze?
I'm not. Blade is not a character that I've ever had like a huge fascination with, besides the cinematic version. But I'm trying to get more into Blade, especially as the kind of reemergence of Marvel horror is kind of happening. Yes. So I'm trying to get more and more into it. I actually have his first solo book. Just picked up a nice copy of that, and I was going to start reading that, but.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I want to read more of it. It's like one of those things that was kind of a blind spot for me. A lot of the Midnight Suns kind of stuff I didn't really get super into in the 90s. So trying to get more into it now.
Yeah, same here.
The Blade that's out right now, it's really, it's not deep, but it's the pacing and the action is perfect. I'd say in it, you're not going to learn anything reading this Blade book, but you're probably going to have a good time because it's paced very well. The conversations are very flowy. There's lots of drama and stuff going on. There's a lot of cool characters being introduced, but they're introduced in like a way that makes sense. It's not, it doesn't like take itself too seriously. It's a fun book so far. And I think we have solicitation all the way through January right now, which is great.
Yeah.
So
And some sweet Elena Casagrande work, man. Elena Casagrande, I think, is super underrated as an artist. I love her work. So seeing her on Blade and with Bryan Hill, that's awesome. So yeah, I'm definitely checking out Ultimate Black Panther. But you guys alluded to another title that some people are very excited for, and some people may not be so excited for. But let's get into it. Of course, at the Comic-Con, they also revealed that there will be an Ultimate X-Men book, and this one is going to be written and drawn by Peach Momoko. This one releases March 6, 2023. So a little while from now. Still got like 4 or 5 months till that one comes out. And as you know, Peach Momoko rose to fame with her variant cover work. She signed an exclusive deal to Marvel in 2020 and started building her own little universe with Demon Days, a series of interconnected one-shots that began in 2021 with Demon Days X-Men. Now, during the 2000s, Ultimate X-Men by Mark Millar and Andy Kubert established a world that feared and hated mutants, with Magneto being like the biggest terrorist threat. And they did this all the way to 2009. So at this point, it's unclear how mutants will fit into the new Ultimate Universe or whatever it is. But we have a little bit of hints because in Ultimate Invasion, we've seen Emmanuel DaCosta, Robert DaCosta's father, Colossus, Ilyana Rasputin, Omega Red, and Sunfire as members of a global collective organized by the Maker, designed to control worldwide events and perspectives. So we got a little bit of a hint at how mutants will fit into this new Ultimate Universe. But nonetheless, Momoko will have her opportunity to fill in her section of it, the Ultimate X-Men section.
Yeah.
So my question for everybody on the panel, of course, everybody in the chat, what are you excited? First, are you excited for the X-Men book, written and drawn by Peach? Now, the drawn part, I think we all know what to expect, right? Like, we know her style. I want to keep in mind that this is not her fairy tale land stuff that she's doing. This is a in the universe of whatever Hickman is doing. So she has to be more grounded. So that's going to be interesting to see her art in a more grounded way instead of this wispy, kind of tattoo art that she does. But the more important part is the written. I've never read anything from Peach Momoko, really. I don't know how good of a writer she is. And this is X-Men we're talking about, guys. You know what I mean? This is a grand history of characters. Even though this is the Ultimate Universe, you still got to know the regular X-Men stuff, I think, before you get into this stuff. So let me go around the panel, see what you guys think. Guys in the chat, Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko. Are you excited? You picking this up? Or it's like, oh, hell no. I'll start with Bronze Age, man. What do you think? Peach Momoko, Ultimate X-Men, man.
So I'm not, what I would say is I'm not excited. I'm still going to check it out because I have this, there's a lot of times where something's coming out and everybody groans, and every once in a while there's a real hidden gem in the middle of that thing, right? Yeah. So it's possible. I mean, X-Men is my jam. I'm the out of everything I like, X-Men's the number one thing. So I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of fears. Also, you did mention, it's not the kind of fairy tale world. However, in the solicitation, they do say that the Ultimate Universe, they need to explore how they're merging powers in startling ways and how they connect to folklore, legend, and magic. So I do think that there's going to be more of that in there. And by the way, if your decision is to have Peach Momoko write this and that's where she wants to go with it, I think you kind of need to let that play out a little bit, because if you restrict a writer too much, that's not good. Right. I've never read anything by Peach Momoko. Hopefully she's been working on this. I know there's a new character coming in this series that she created. I'm excited for some of those things. Honestly, though, I just don't have much hope for it. And I really want a new kind of X-Men mini universe to be really good.
Oh, yeah.
I really love the original Ultimate X-Men run. I loved about the first, right around until the time that Robert Kirkman was on it. After that, I jumped off pretty big on that. But up until then, it was fun. It was nice to read this new series. It had a lot of, kind of Fox X-Men kind of inspirations and kind of plays there. This could be completely different. It could be completely awesome. but I'm probably gonna hate read it. It's my guess.
Hey man, at least you're honest, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Oh man.
I'm also
man.
I'm not a huge fan of her art style. Like she can really like she does way too many covers. 1 out of every 100 of her covers is fucking amazing, but the other 99 are very same and blah.
I agree with you, man. She does a lot of
covers. And I hope they chill and let her focus on this if she's doing this book. So I hope that's not a problem and she can just focus on just this book. And then if that's the case, maybe we'll see like her artwork elevated to a different level if she's been thinking about this for a while. But again, that's me being optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, I know she can do it. I have taken a look inside those Demon Days books. They look pretty good. They look pretty cool. You know, they're very nice to look at. So I know she could probably pull off the art part of it. It's the writing that worries me. But Manny, what do you think? Peach Momoko, I think you're excited for this one, right?
I am super excited. I am pumped to buy this book. I cannot wait to have it in my collection. I'm not okay. I don't have any skin in the game, right? I mean, I stopped reading X-Men how long ago? I stopped. And Demon Days is a book that I've read, and there's a little Demon Wars and every other demon thing we've had from Marvel, from Peach. I'm struggling personally. I haven't given her a chance to tell her story. I have no idea what this is going to be. So it's really tough for me to pass judgment on it. But because I'm a YouTuber with a microphone, judgment is what I'm going to pass. I just I don't know how this is going to work. Yeah. I don't know how this is going to work. It is like saying, do you really like The Matrix? Did you also know Lord of the Rings is tied to that? And now we're making a shared universe. It's a strange choice. Yeah. It's a strange choice. When Rom V took over on Detective, right? The backup story Si Spurrier was writing, we had all that Jim Gordon and Sorrow stuff. Right. And he had Danny and all these people writing on it. Believe me, I'll tie them together here. When Ivan Reis had to start drawing Gordon in the comics, it was jarring as fuck. Like the character looked totally different.
I got you.
What happens when the Ultimate X-Men have to cross over with the rest of the Ultimates? I'm struggling to see how it's all going to fit together. I'm struggling to see how this is going to work.
Yeah.
And that's me being ignorant and not giving an artist the chance to tell their story. But as a YouTuber who's going to spend money on this number one, because I'm gonna have to fucking talk about it on the interwebs, I feel like these are my concerns, and they're valid, and they're I don't know. My point is this. Fucking Peach Momoko. I mean, honestly, like, is anyone buying Demon Days? Is Demon Days like a huge seller? I don't follow the trends and the sales stuff. Can you guys tell me, is it a huge seller for Marvel?
Even if they reported it, it's not complete anyways. So I can't imagine it's huge.
Like, why would you do this? There are Jerry Duggan. I mean, there's other ex-writers who are selling and moving books right now.
Oh, he's up to his ass and work. Right,
you know what I mean? It's striking to me. It's almost like they just want to appease. They need somewhere to put Peach, and she's already probably done a bunch of the pre-work on this.
I think you're going to get your answer in our next segment. I'll just say it like that. I'll leave it like that. But yeah,
I do one thing I do want to follow up on there though is I did hear this panel say earlier that we want to see new interpretations of characters and different. So, I mean, if you get Jerry Duggan, something like that, is it really new? I'm not saying that's what Ultimate has to be, but I'm all for like the Krakoa experiment for what it was. It was interesting. It was different. It was new. I think it started out really strong. I think it kind of lost its way, and then it kind of found its footing again. So I am down for seeing something new, though. I think that needs to be kind of celebrated in a way, because, we've seen the same old for a long time. But I think in particular, a lot of X-Men fans want some of that old magic and less of the new stuff. So that's kind of that weird, delicate balance there.
Yeah. And to be fair, when I said what I previously said, it wasn't through the lens of somebody who really doesn't like Peach Momoko's art. So I'm saying this with absolute bias. Absolute bias. So all my hypocrisy is completely based on my own personal.
And that's fair.
So you don't have like
no,
a technical, you don't have like a technical issue with this. You have like
No, I
a
needed
personal
to pick-
preference issue and a technical
Absolutely.
issue.
Well, I had to
Gotcha.
I had
So
to
you're just
pick-
wrong. Yeah, got it.
I had to pick one to dislike. This was the obvious choice.
I think this one's going to be interesting to see because like it's a cool cover too. So you have armor on here, right? And so it's like, okay, so we clearly know that the feel, the vibe, the aesthetics, the locations, all that stuff she's pulling forward from her previous work from like Demon Days and things like that. So I doubt this is going to be like an Ultimate X-Men. I am kind of Ultimate illiterate, unfortunately, so I really have to do my homework. But I'm assuming this is not going to be like your classic X-Men type of teams of people, right? Like names that everybody kind of knows. And so I think she's gonna purposefully write and draw this in a way, tell a story that she can tell using the strengths that she has and not try to replicate something that's already been out there or anything like that. So I think it's gonna be very different than what we've seen before. But like Manny said, like I have technical concerns about this. If we ever do cross things over, like what's that gonna look like? Right. Maybe Kodransky's going to draw it, Manny. Maybe he'll do it because he can do all kinds of different artistic styles mixed into one book. And so there you go. He's got plenty of red and black left over, so he can definitely handle all this. So with armor and whatnot. So I'm optimistically. I don't know. We'll see.
Nick, to your point though, there is mention in the solicitation that it's going to be a new generation of mutants that meets and is filled with the original and familiar X-Men characters. So
yeah,
they're going to do a best of both worlds in their perspective kind of thing, I think.
Cool. Have the old ones in and out.
Yeah.
Teach them and then focus on the new team, I think, because I think then she can really shine and do whatever creative stuff she wants to do to these teams, both from art and a story perspective.
Right. Absolutely. I like Peach. I like her artistry. You know, I understand it's not for everybody. I get it. Famously, Morbius Comics, if you're familiar with him, he hates Peach Momoko. Let me tell you, I tagged him in a Peach Momoko cover on Instagram. He hit me up. He's like,
oh no, you didn't, sir.
Not on that one. So I get it. I get it. I like her art style though. I'm very curious to see what she brings to the table as far as X-Men artistically. But it's the writing. Like I said, the writing's got me like, I would have been way more excited if you told me it was like, I don't know, Hickman and Momoko. I would have been like, what? Hickman and Momoko? What?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How does that even
mess
blend?
my brain up? Yeah. But just her alone, yeah, I'm getting Demon Days vibes. And Demon Days, it was okay, but it for me, it was just more art. It was just a pretty book, something to look at. Momoko art. And if you enjoy that kind of thing, I think that's what's going to be. But if you're looking for like some sort of deep X-Men kind of thing going on with this one, I don't know if this is going to be the one. It might be a little disappointment. But let me go to the chat. Everybody's been commenting on this Ultimate stuff. Let me just say, see what everybody thinks. First of all, my man Chop and Drop is in the house. Station, what is going on? He says, how do I change that? C3 is at 30K plus. That's effing amazing. Hell yes. Station, what is going on, man? We got my brother Magic Lasso in the house. Station, what is going on, Lasso? We got my brother Missing Link Comics in the house.
What up, Steph?
Station, Steph, how are you, man? Warren said, comics doing the magic of bringing people together. Excellent. Always, man. Hell yeah. Let me see. Everybody saying what up to each other. Oh, here goes another one of my brothers, Stu. Dr. Doom's fan club in the house. Station all at work, but had to pop in and say, hey, Station, Stu. Hope you have a good day at work, brother. I don't know if I shouted this guy out, but we got Perry Comics in the house.
Hey, Perry.
Perry, how are you, man? Thanks for joining us. Magic Lasso, of course, has to remind us that it's Happy Wonder Woman Day, guys. So happy Wonder Woman.
Oh, no kidding. I gotta change up my blaming.
And of course, Stu has a message for you. He said, glad you clocked in for work, Nick. Guess the
shut the fuck up, Stu. I swear to God.
The manatees, I'm sorry. One more day for rescue. Oh snap!
Yeah, all those people are all those animals are starving and they're out to walk themselves today. So sorry. No volunteering for Nick today.
We got Eric saying Jason Aaron could bring some weird over to DC and I'd check it out. Oh yeah, man.
That's fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's got a good hot streak going. I mean, Avengers kind of sucked towards the end, but like Punisher was good, and he did some cool stuff.
His Thor run is epic.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Warren said British Comics Treasury has a 2023 annual out that contains some of the best of British comics. Yeah, I think I heard about that one too. They have, what's that series? 2000 AD, right? That's like the long running series over there. I know I see a ton of it on my timeline. Like there's a lot of fans of the British comics. So hell yeah, check that out. I spelled panel wrong. I'm going on like 2 hours of sleep. I can spell. I swear I can.
Were you on with Journey Journey last night as well?
I was on there way too late last night.
I hope they do something wild with Black Panther to differentiate him from the 616. I'm glad you said that, Sal, because they never confirmed if it was going to be T'Challa. That's some speculation that's going on with that title too that I forgot to mention. They never said T'Challa was going to be the Black Panther. They just said the Black Panther. So you never know. You never know. Let's see. Link said, I'm checking out all the Ultimate titles. Hell yeah. Hey, Ultimate ran for 15 years from what I read. Ran for 15 years. That's a whole generation. Wow. That's a generation of readers that I'm sure are going to love seeing this thing come back. I'm like you guys. I haven't read the Ultimate stuff. I want to get into it, especially Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, but
Did they leak like how this is happening? It's not the same Ultimate Universe, right?
No.
So it's gonna be the Ultimate Universe that we have after Invasion. Is it could be like the continuation of that one? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I was like, this is weird. Yeah.
Just read this morning that Momoko's take on mutants will be tied to Magic for. Oh yeah, he said that definitely. Yeah. So yeah, maybe more Demon Days, and for some people that might be a turnoff. I totally understand it. We need Mark Waid on script and Greg Land on art for Apocalypse, Rebirth, Penultimate, etc. #2. That's how you make events these days. You just put a whole bunch of big words like that together. It
has to be a sentence.
Penultimate. That's man, funny. Jay Nunya in the house. Peach Marvel Universe. Didn't she write Demon Days? Yeah, she wrote those books. Yeah. And I think I read the first one, but I didn't read the rest. And I had them on pull kind of because I do like Peach Momoko. And I kind of skimmed through them, real quick. Yeah. And I like what I saw inside.
I think the only one I read was the one where like the tribe was hunting down like Venom, and Venom was like this beast in the hut. You know what I mean? I think that's the only one I actually read from her.
Yeah. Let me see. Who else? Peach has said that editors had to tell her to add more dialogue to her stories. Yeah.
So get Tom King in there and he'll
Let's see. She likes to let her artwork tell the story. And that's nothing bad with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I like that sometimes. Sometimes too many words intimidate me. I don't know about you guys. At that first page, I see a wall of text. I already know what I'm getting into. I'm like, okay, this one might be the last book I'm reading. But this is
I mean, there is something to be said for some comics are a little too dialogue heavy, but I mean, you can't go all the way correction the other way either, too.
Right.
Absolutely. You mean Magneto is a bad guy? What a fantastic stretch of the imagination. It's almost a rebirth apocalypse, etc. He's on a roll today, man. Looks like it's focusing on armor. Don't know if that will draw enough fans in. Yes, she's relatively unknown.
But I think with the Spider-Verse stuff, right? Like that drew in a crowd that, I mean, nobody, I'm not gonna say nobody. A lot of people didn't know who Armor was prior to that Spider-Verse movie, and then all of a sudden we're in Spider-Verse and now it's got some eyes. So maybe she'll play on that.
Absolutely. And Missing Link agrees with you. He says, same Bronze Age. Kirkman was when Ultimate X-Men fell off for me. Oh, yeah. David LaFuente was on Ultimate Spider-Man when Carlos Pacheco and Lanil Yu were on Ultimate Avengers. Yeah, I know Missing Link definitely knows about the Ultimate Universe. That's like I said, it's a generation. That's his generation. That's when he was into comics. All that stuff was going on. They kept making many Demon Days comics. Peach did her own Peach verse of Civil War. Oh, I didn't even know that. That sounds kind of interesting, actually. Demon Days had Mystique and Storm characters that look cool. Yeah, the art was awesome, dude. The art was awesome for sure. And what up, Mike? Station, my brother. Also Station to Comics by the Bay said, what up, Phable and friends? Station, my brother. Chill out, man, in the house. Station, everybody. I'm here at work just listening. Thank you. Yeah, all the people that are work tuning in, man, thank you so much for hanging out with us. But let's get to our next segment. It's 2 announcements, both about Image Comics. But I think they're freaking huge. When I was doing my research on these 2 announcements, I'm like, holy crap, Image Comics.
Can I interject with one quick thing before we move on to Image? So the other thing is too, if you're a Star Wars fan, Marvel did announce some new Star Wars books at NYCC. One of them, Thrawn, kind of in the spotlight right now. Thrawn Alliance is #1, written by Timothy Zahn. So I'm interested in that.
Oh, nice.
We're also going to get a Mace Windu and a Jango Fett series going out too. So some cool books there for some popular Star Wars characters. I thought I'd throw that out there.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited.
Thank you, brother. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thrawn will be interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, by Timothy Zahn. Isn't that the guy who created Thrawn?
And he wrote some canon Star Wars Thrawn novels, like the crossover with how Thrawn met Anakin and stuff during the Clone Wars. So it's pretty interesting stuff that he's kind of building up. He's kind of fleshing out the character for the new canon.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'm definitely checking those out. I collect all the Star Wars books. I think they've been pretty good at Marvel.
Yeah.
I think Marvel's done a pretty decent job with those comics. But yeah, Image dropped 2 bombs at New York Comic Con, in my opinion. I haven't heard too many people talking about it in the way that I think I'm about to talk about it, but I'm going to get into each individual thing. We can comment on each individual announcement, and then I just got a question for the overall announcement of both of these things. So first of all, Jeff Johns and Ghost Machine, Jeff Johns, Bryan Hitch, and Gary Frank team up for a new imprint at Image Comics, Ghost Machine. So a new Image Comics imprint announced at New York Comic Con 2023 will offer 4 interconnected universes from Jeff Johns and the Ghost Machine team, which includes Bryan Hitch, Jason Fabok, Peter Tomasi, Francis Manipul, Gary Frank, Maytools Shoot, Lamont McGee, and Brad Meltzer. And one more creator that they didn't want to announce because this guy, due to his obligations to other companies, they didn't want to announce him. But there's another creator in there. I think it's a big guy too. That's why they didn't want to say his name. But there's another one in there. And according to Ghost Machine, all these creators will have will be exclusive to Ghost Machine beyond commitments to pre-existing titles. So if any of these guys have titles going on, they'll still be doing those titles, but they are now exclusive to Jeff Johns' Ghost Machine, which is crazy. Yeah. The team released a statement to accompany their announcement. It goes like this: our ambition for Ghost Machine is to push beyond superheroes, introducing new genres, characters, and shared universes, completely co-owned by all the creators involved. We see this as the future of how creatives will work and retain creative control and meaningfully participate in success like never before. Our passion is for the magic of graphic storytelling and the emotional resonance of compelling characters, but we are not just a comic book company. We are the first wholly creator-owned and operated media company of its kind, born out of a desire to create and succeed together. Some books that they announced one of them was called The Unnamed, and this is spinning out of Jeff Johns and Gary Frank's pre-existing Geiger and Junkyard Joe books that they already released. A book called Rook Exodus. It's a sci-fi storyline from Jason Fabok. The Family Odysseus or Odysseys. This one centers around a time-displaced family. I don't have creators on that one. And Peter J. Tomasi and Francis Manipul are doing a book called The Rocket Fellers. So not Rockefeller, Rocket Fellers. And then a new horror universe book by this unnamed creator, the guy that they don't want to name. He's doing some horror universe book. So, just based on this announcement, everybody in the chat, everybody in the panel, you excited about this Ghost Machine imprint? And I'll start with Nick. Nick, what do you think?
I'm very excited for it. First off, Image Comics is it is the most pulled publisher that I get from comics right now, and it's not even close. I mean, if anybody watches Nick at Night, it's pretty insane. And this one coming up tonight is like, it's not even close. And so I'm excited for most Image books that come out. This one in particular, because Geiger was a very important book for me a couple of years ago. It had a very interesting story. It went up and down. It had its peaks and valleys for sure, but I think it closed very strong. And then I heard that there was going to be a whole universe spinning out of this. And Junkyard Joe was one of those books that spun out of it. And I think it was one of the best comics last year. And I can't remember exactly when it ended, maybe earlier this year, but extremely strong book. And there was a lot of other stories that were supposed to spin out of that as well, like Redcoat. And Redcoat was going to be a cool book too, because it was going to kind of explore some more of like this alternate American history in a way. And there was like a supernatural element and like from the founding fathers and things like that. And so I think it's going to be something to really pay attention to, especially if you're a Geiger or a Junkyard Joe fan. This whole universe is going to blow up. There's going to be a lot of different storylines woven together. I'm really looking forward to it. And they kind of tease what this universe could look like in the Geiger 80-page giant that came out a long time ago. And so if you want to, you got to get a little taste of what you might be getting into, you can check out that 80-page giant. So I'm super excited for it. I love everything they put out so far. Love all the names attached to this. The stories are the solicitations seem really cool too. So I'm a big fan. Can't wait.
Oh yeah. A lot of big names, bunch of them. And it's so weird that they're like an imprint under an imprint sort of thing, right? Like Image is the basic umbrella, but like now these imprints are like many comic book companies within Image. It's always been that way, but like it's like getting bigger now. Like I think when you're signing this many people exclusively, things are good. Things are good over there. Yep. So Manny, man, what do you think? Ghost Machine. You're muted, man.
It's why I,
he was doing a bit.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm excited for the same reasons Nick is. I like Geiger. I like Junkyard Joe. The books have been quality so far. And yeah, I mean, it's just like Top Cower was and everything else. Just like it's an imprint under Image, and they're gonna make. I don't know, though. They should make pretty good books. I sure would think. It's a pretty good creative team. And nothing so far that has been released in the unnamed universe has been like shitty or skippable. Even Geiger had its peaks and valleys, like Nick was saying, but all in all, it was a pretty solid book. It's not like another shared universe that Image has been putting out that I personally have been reading and apologizing for this fucking massive.
Would you say it's a super massive universe?
I would say almost like a super massive universe.
Maybe even super massive is not the right
That's
word.
been out there that Taki and I have been apologists for forever. That have had books that have not been of good quality. So I'm excited, and I'll buy a whole bunch of. I'll be buying all kinds of cool Ghost Machine stuff. So I'm excited.
Oh yeah, Bronze Age. What do you think, Ghost Machine? You excited?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be excited for it. I am always a little skeptical when there's like this slate of super creators come into something. Like it almost feels. I don't know if you ever had this feeling, but every time you watch a movie and they focus on the cast, and it's like, oh, here's like 10 amazing actors that everybody loves, and then they start talking about the story. There's always a little bit of that to me, where it's like, are we focusing on the talent here rather than the story? But Jeff Johns, he's backed it up with some of these stories he's told, so I'm excited. I think this could be a really cool thing. I do wonder like what kind of penetration this is going to get in the market right now, when you're talking about a lot of pre-existing stuff that's kind of I think it's already found its audience for the most part. Hopefully they can ramp that up and find more of an audience for it, because something like this, to be successful, you want it to kind of increase in popularity when something like this happens instead of stagnating. But look, it's hard not to be excited for that. A lot of, basically amazing ex-DC people that were exclusive to them come into this, that had a fantastic runs over there. So yeah, it should be really fun. I can't wait to see, where they go with this down the road. If this kind of generates any spinoffs for media, which I'm sure is probably part of the goal of doing something like this as well. Yeah, it's hard not to be excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
The other thing about that is they've been building this for so long. Because when the hell did Geiger even come out? Geiger came out probably over 2 years ago at this point,
2020,
right?
I think.
So yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, and then Junkyard Joe wrapped up earlier this year, I think. And so it's like they've been building this world, and they had the 80-page giant out a while ago as well, and they teased a lot of these back in February of 22. That 80-page giant came out. So they've been teasing this universe for over like 2-3 years, something like that. So they've had enough time, and they have some very talented people. Hopefully they've flushed a lot of this stuff out. And and I just actually found the timeline that was featured as well. So in case anyone's wondering where Geiger takes place in 2050, where our Junkyard Joe comes online, obviously in the 70s, and then Junkyard Joe takes place around more current day. And so you can see like where these other series are going to be taking place.
Wow.
Cool. So very cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, like Bronze said, how can you not get excited with all these creators attached? I mean, Jason Fabok alone for me is like, crap, what is he gonna do? He's an amazing artist. Yeah. So yeah, totally exciting. And I think Bronze Age makes another good point about market penetration and stuff like that. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of things that Image is asking us to get into, and how much of this stuff is actually going to make it to the shelf. Because I just went to a comic shop the other day, and I'll tell you right now, they only had half of Marvel's releases, and that's Marvel #1. You know what I mean?
And that's being generous too, probably.
Yeah, shops are very risk adverse right now for the most part, and I mean, again, you're talking about a bunch of people. Comic fans they tend to stick with what they know or what looks cool that's coming out. So if they can build this as a good enough jumping on point for people, that will be fantastic, and hopefully that's what happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, man. The announcements didn't stop there though. For Image, man, they also announced that Giant Generator. So Giant Generator is Rick Remender's imprint on Image Comics, and they signed 12 artists exclusive to Giant Generator. So let me just go over who they signed to Giant Generator. We have Daniel Acuna, Andre Lima, Arajo, Paul Azaceta, Bengal, Roland Bashi, Max Fiumura, Mike Hawthorne, J.G. Jones, Francesco Mobili, Brett Parson, Yannick Paquette, and Greg Ticini. And they're all going to be developed brand new projects, either individually or with creators yet to be announced, with all the rights and the projects owned and controlled entirely by the creators. So another one of these, like, everybody owns their stuff at the imprint thing. And Rick Remender, man, I got to remind you that he signed himself an exclusive deal to Image. I believe it was a 3-year deal earlier this year. So the owner of Giant Generators also signed exclusively to Image. And they announced Grommets by Rick Remender and Brian Posehn and Brett Parson, Napalm Lullaby by Rick Remender and Bengal, and Dust to Dust by J.G. Jones and Phil Bram. All of these will be coming out in 2024. So before I go on to the big question I have for you guys, any of this Giant Generator stuff, all those names, any of those names jump out at you? I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to say that, let me see, there was a name here. Daniel Acuna. He jumped out at me immediately because Daniel Acuna is going to be the artist of Avengers Twilight, the Chip Zdarsky book.
With Chip. Nice.
Yeah, that's coming out. And Daniel Acuna is now exclusively with Giant Generator. Right? So that's very interesting. Once whatever he's doing with Chip wraps up, I don't know if you're going to see him at Marvel anymore, is what I'm saying. So I'm interested to see what he's coming up with here. But any of this stuff jump out at you at all? I'll start with Bronze Age with this giant generator stuff. It's the same thing like Ghost Machine. Bunch of creators starting their own imprint. So
yeah, for me, it's going to mostly be just how good does each project look, and I will even beyond just like how it looks for, you know, come FOC time when we finally start to see solicitations, but also just how does it turn out? Like that's what matters ultimately. But Yannick Paquette is a name that sticks out to me. Like I'm always interested to see what they're gonna do. Honestly, not a lot of people that I'm super familiar with in that lineup.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's gonna be blah or bad or whatever. Maybe it'll highlight some people that needed some highlighting, but
right.
For the most part, it's not. Yeah, Acuna is another name for sure in there, but it's not a huge lineup in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them did work on Marvel and DC, so it is big. It's not like they're like these total, like, you know, people from in the indie space that you never heard of. A lot of them have worked on big 2 titles. But I agree with you completely. I only knew about 3 names on this list. I'm not gonna lie. But Manny, what do you think? Giant Generator signing all this talent. Rick Remender.
Paul Azucena is probably the one that I'm most familiar with, just because of, you know, Punisher and Daredevil and stuff.
Okay.
And Outcast Kirkman stuff.
Yep, Kirkman.
But you know, I mean, it's I don't know. I guess I don't know how, like, if I don't know any of these like books that Remender is talking about. I mean, I know they're new, but like I haven't heard anyone like hyping anything yet in the week that we've had. So I don't know if that's really going to make a massive difference. I know I don't, and I also don't know the exclusivity of these contracts. Like, are they only exclusive for creator-owned books? Like, are they still going to be jobbing at Marvel and DC? That I don't know.
Right.
So, I mean, they're great artists, and so it should generate some good art for some books. Hopefully, people read them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Nick, any thoughts on this Giant Generator thing?
Yeah, I think that I think we have some really good talent just kind of collaborating and doing these exclusivity deals. And I think that's not a bad thing, because if they can get more money for the work that they're doing, it's more incentive for creators to actually start doing work. And so I think that they're going to put more of their own spin on things. They're going to have more, they're not chained down to just, you know, the big 2 kinds of characters that can kind of do whatever they want. They have this creative license to do so. And maybe they'll get paid more for it. So I'm all for when creators get together to do more original stuff, because my heart's in the indies, and that's the kind of story I like to read, because it doesn't have a legacy to follow up with, right?
Yeah.
So we saw this with like Distillery and stuff too, right? A bunch of creators getting together and putting together their own labels and everything, and just doing their own stuff. So it's definitely a path that a lot of people are taking post Substack, and I think everyone's trying to find out the next best way to make as much money as they can on their original creations. And so, hey, props to them. You know, if they want to spin up their own mini labels and create a bunch of stuff and do exclusivity deals, then fine. Just unlike Substack, I want some results though. I really want these creators to be pumping out some quality things on a regular basis, things I can consume, I can enjoy, I can love. And I just don't want to hear this news story and then 8 months down the road be like, man, remember that time we talked about Giant Generator? And like, when's that gonna ever happen again? You know, when are we gonna get a book finally? You know, so it's like, I'm all for him doing it, but man, I just want regular stuff. And I think that maybe we got used to the big 2 with their deadlines being so strict that they were forcing creators to pump out stuff. And now that they're on their own, maybe there's a little bit more laxed rules, or I don't know what the deal is, but I just want some results from all these great, you know, headlines that we're reading, you know?
Yeah.
So,
dude, that was a fantastic point. I'm so glad you said that about Substack and then Distillery. It is this trend that just keeps happening over and over again. And yet it hasn't really found success in any meaningful way. The real example is to go back to the 90s when Image was founded, because that was really the progenitor of all this stuff. Right. And you wrapped it up perfectly, because then you come back to the deadlines, which a lot of Image books struggled because of, you know, hey, when's that next issue coming out? Like a month or 2 later. All right, great. 6 months later, man, what the fuck was even happening in that book? You know?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys mentioned that because I really wanted to talk about those two announcements in particular because Image has long been considered the third of the big three. If you ever call it a big three, right? But
Yeah,
as
that's
of
fair.
late, they've been doing a lot of big moves. You know what I mean? Signing all of this talent. I mean, I just named off a smorgasbord of artists and writers, at least 20 or more. And there's more than that. Then you add on Todd McFarlane and everything he's got going on with Spawn. You add on Robert Kirkman and Skybound Entertainment, which just got Transformers, 150,000 copies plus sold. G.I. Joe, it's going to be the same business coming out. And everything else they got going on. Radiant Black Universe, like Manny said, Kyle Higgins and all those guys basically ripping off Power Rangers and making it work. But either way, they've got
Brian K. Vaughan, W. Maxwell Prince. I mean, we got all these
Ice
amazing
Cream
names.
Man. They've got
It's
the
insane.
critical acclaim. They've got the
Yeah.
artistry now. This imprint, the Image imprint itself, is huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So my question is it going to be the big two anymore or the big one? Because DC and Marvel will never go away. They'll never go away. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are a little tired of the superheroes. They are, that's why all this indie stuff is even out. There's got to be money there. People are buying this stuff more than we even think. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody creates a business if there's going to be no profitability. I mean, we could survive on razor edge margins, but you still got to make it a business. And everybody has to believe in this business and participate. And if they're all going to be partners making money, I think they all have incentive to try to make it work. So I think Image is in a position right now to become the biggest publisher of comic books. So I just wanted to ask you, what do you think about Image as a whole? Are they poised to be number one, man? I'll start with Bronze Age.
It would be an amazing world if that were true. I don't personally see it happening. Not with, especially not based on this slate of announcements. Now, maybe this slate of announcements sets them up in a position where all of a sudden they could come up over the top with, that kind of knockout punch. I just don't think it's going to make much of it. It's going to keep Image relevant. It's going to keep them going for a little bit longer. Keep not like they were on the ropes, to keep the boxing analogy in play. That's not what's going to happen. But it's just sort of an exciting shakeup. If one or two of these books ends up becoming a Walking Dead style level of popularity, or even half of that, then you might start looking at that. But without that, it's more creators working for Image doing a great job. But it's a hard list to knock, to knock yourself into up there at the top, when it comes to sales. And unfortunately, you just have so much name brand recognition in Marvel and DC that it's going to be hard for anybody else to really find their footing there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
And they got competition too. That's the other thing. So I don't know if this is on your, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, if this is going to be on your notes at all here, but we, a lot of talk about Image, which I think is worth it. But I almost feel like some of the biggest indie announcements out of NYCC were with Dynamite. And they're kind of doing the opposite, which is instead of brand new IPs, brand new storylines from creator owned, they're taking all these Warner Brothers properties like Thundercats and all, all this different stuff, Johnny Quest and Powerpuff Girls and Flintstones. And some people may or may not care about those things, but a lot of people, like especially Thundercats, a lot of people care about that stuff. And they're already doing this with, they have the Gargoyles and all the, Darkwing Duck and all that stuff. And there's a lot of nostalgia for people on those titles and those properties. And so they keep kind of just, they did the Game of Thrones comics and the Army of Darkness and all that stuff. And they have all those big properties that people love, and they're doing really good jobs adapting a lot of them. So,
yeah,
that's kind of almost like, it makes me wonder if that's going to gain more momentum and kind of polarize some people as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the IP chase is real. Image is a part of it with Transformers and G.I. Joe. I know Oni Press just did what was it, Manny? I know we were talking about it. The Oni Press think it's Biker Mice from Mars or
Oh yeah.
something like that. They did a whole bunch of a universe of some cartoon label from back in the 80s. They signed them. So yeah, the IP chase is real. It's definitely money in that. But then where does that leave everybody else, right? DC doesn't have that going on except with Scooby-Doo, I think. Which I don't know. So, you know what I mean?
That's what's weird about it, though, because talking about the Dynamite thing, that's Warner Brothers, right? So it's interesting that they shifted that business essentially over to Dynamite. Kind of, we've seen Marvel sort of do some of that stuff with, like IDW and other stuff as well. Yeah. So it is kind of interesting how that works. Like, really, at the end of the day, DC's probably benefiting on the back end from the license agreements there a little bit, or at least, their parent company is.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Manny, what do you think about Image, man? Do you think they're gonna grow significantly, like at least their profile, from being big three to, man, maybe even competing with some of these guys?
Yeah, there was a band back in the day. I don't know. Y'all might have heard of them. They were the Beatles, right? And the Beatles had all these different members, and each member was supremely talented. And for a while, they did really well together.
Right.
And then shit just started going in all sorts of different directions. And then, like in the 90s, there was all these creators, and they were really, really good, really great for Marvel. And they all got together. They started this thing called Image, and that was really good for a while. Then they all started doing this thing. I don't know that Image has enough synergy. Like, nobody, you get a book for a creator, and then you realize it's an Image book. You're not buying Image comics. You are buying Ice Cream Man. You are buying Transformers.
I see what you mean.
It doesn't matter. We were buying Transformers when it was IDW. We're buying, you know what I mean? Like these things.
Yes.
No one gives a shit whether Disney is putting out Star Wars books or Dark Horse is putting out Star Wars. Nobody cares. Yeah. So that said, I don't know that Image, to Bronze Age's point, has these like franchises, these name recognitions. People go to Marvel. You buy Marvel books.
Right.
You don't really buy Image books. They just happen to be Image books.
Yeah.
I think Ghost Machine's probably the most, I think, positioned to put out consistent good work. Right. Because just like with Image, Todd McFarlane's an old ass man starting Image who had a good work ethic starting Image, and that carried over, where the young bucks like Liefeld, he's gone, right? So I think that having Jeff John, Francis Manipul, people that have written and drawn really great shit and know how to stick to deadlines and have been in bullpens and know how this works, they're gonna really be positioned to do well. Whereas like Distillery, it's like Uber, right? It's really cool. Everybody's really fucking pumped because we all love Ron V and James Tynion, but it's never gonna turn a profit. You know what I mean? They're the cool kids.
I got you, man. Oh yeah.
So I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, Marvel DC is going to do well. I think Image is signing a bunch of exclusives because I personally feel that you have other studios in the entertainment world pouring money into Image because they can't get Marvel and DC properties for their films. So you've got people putting money into Image as a farm for future television and movie content. That's where it's all coming from.
I also think it's sort of an indication of the business practices, or maybe the implication of the business practices of Marvel and DC, because Rick Remender, from what I heard, he was offered X-Men and he said hell no and signed a 3-year agreement with Image. You got all these other guys like you named, everybody, all the artists and writers we named, they're all going here. This is what they're doing. And I said earlier, remember earlier when I said you might get your answer in our next segment of why they're putting Peach Momoko on Ultimate X-Men, or why they're putting, these weird decisions that you're saying, is because there's nobody to get. They're signing everybody to these exclusive deals. Who are you going to get? Can't call Jason Fabok anymore. He's off the table. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But Nick, what do you think, man?
Yeah, you can't get Mark Millar. He's too busy destroying his universe.
What do you think?
In a good way, by the way. I love that.
Is Image? Are they positioning themselves here? I mean, they do have a big history now. They're not the new company anymore.
They do, but but everyone just mentioned very, very good points of why they're probably never going to be there unless Marvel or DC goes bankrupt and they don't put comics out anymore. I don't think they're ever going to replace them in any way. And I just pulled up ICV2, which is supposedly a decent way to look at comic sales in the #1 books. And I'm looking at this list right now, the top 50. And if somebody has a better site, please let me know. I just happened to just Google this. But there's only one Image book on the entire list for August, and it's Void Rivals 3. So, like, if we're talking about, are they going to replace them? No, they're not going to replace them. Now, when I look at this list, I'm not reading most of these books, obviously, because there's so many, but I'm not reading a lot of these books. So it's like, maybe it's a volume issue at the same time, but it's also brand recognition, like we talked about. I mean, Batman and ASM and X-Men and Spider-Man and Avengers and Thor. It's like your top 10 are all going to be like Avengers or X-Men people or Batman. So you're never going to beat them in sales. So even if you flood the market with quality books that are all disconnected, like Manny's point, like you're not going to read Hexagon Bridge and it's never going to cross over to Tenement. So you're not going to have that. You're not going to have that glue that holds this entire publisher together, you know. But you will have Batman crossing over with Superman. You will have X-Men crossing over with Avengers. You have that continuity share throughout your entire universe that people can dip in and dip out of and follow their brand, and then ignore the other part until there's a collaboration moment. But you're never going to have that kind of fluidity with Image Comics until you make a giant shared universe, kind of like what we're talking about with Jeff Johns or what Mark Miller's doing. And so you can do things like that, but you don't have 60 years of that like you do over in the big two. So it's an uphill battle. They're definitely going to make their names known in the market share for sure. If you put out more books, quality writing teams, quality art teams, and compelling stories, you're going to invade this top 50 list right here, but you're not going to overtake Spider-Man and X-Men and Batman. You're just not going to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is why I asked the questions. This is why I asked it, because I saw all these names, I saw all these imprints, and I saw all this talent involved and all these titles that are coming out. And I'm thinking in my head, like I told you, I went to a shop the other day. They only had half the Marvel books and maybe a third of the DC books out. So how is this going to work? How is Giant Generator? How is I mean, Kirkman. If anybody's going to have Image books, I think Kirkman wins. I mean, the Transformers is going to be on that shelf for sure. So you're going to have to fight with him.
My little local comic shop had dozens and dozens of that #1 and sold out like in 2 days. And like, that's just a small comic book shop. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, that was a huge hit, man.
Oh yeah.
The one caveat I think you need to throw on all that conversation about sales, and I don't think it ultimately changes the situation, but it's one of those things that I feel like I have to bring up anytime we talk about sales numbers. There is no reliable source for sales numbers these days. Yeah. There used to be, because pretty much not everything, but effectively everything used to go through Diamond. So you could take Diamond's numbers and say that's not maybe a full 1-to-1, but it's close enough that the difference is negligible. Now that's not really true, because a lot of it goes through Penguin Random House. A lot of it's digital and isn't being reported, especially when you're talking about some of these new indies or some of these new initiatives. 100% when you're talking about Distillery, who's going to launch their own online marketplace for digital comics, and they're intentionally trying to compete with like the Japanese manga market and try to bring that model to America. Not compete, but they're trying to borrow that idea. Mm-hmm. That really changes the narrative, or at least it's going to over time. Now, again, I think that, you're probably right. When you're talking about that list, that's probably pretty close, at least as far as the huge titles go and the kind of customers that order those over and over again at an LCS. But there are other ways to get comics, and that just has to be kind of brought up, I think, when you talk about that discussion.
Yeah,
for sure. For sure.
I agree with you 100%, because every time I look at certain YouTube channels concerning comic books, there's a lot of doom and gloom talk. Mm-hmm. The industry's down. There's this and that. But on the same token, all these new deals are happening. This guy's getting signed to an exclusive deal. These imprints are coming out. These new distilleries, a new company, this company, that company. And I went to go see Danny Warren Johnson the other night at Midtown Comics, and that line was out the door. Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con 2023 was, just packed to the brim with people. So you're right. The gauge the gauge of our the comic book industry is we can't gauge it. There's no real way to gauge it. What I see doesn't match what they're telling me.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me go to the chat, see what people had to say about this. Let's see. Jason said Ghost Machine all day. Enough said. Oh yeah, man. A lot of people love that Geiger and the Junkyard Joe.
Yeah.
Johns has never been my favorite writer, but I'm very interested in the nature of the imprint being a co-op, like Nunya mentioned. Oh yeah. And Brad Meltzer working in the comic medium is great news. Oh yeah. The Rook artwork by Phable looks really badass. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Penetrating markets. Johns has enough time, especially with the strike still happening, for Ghost Machine. Yeah, absolutely. We need to sacrifice Grant Morrison to reanimate Alan Moore. Image giving Marvel and DC mad competition. I think so.
We'll see. Give it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I mean, but even if it doesn't overtake, look, you gotta be. I'm a big believer in high tides raise all ships, right? So
right.
If Image is generating positive readership, fantastic. That's awesome. Even if it's not, big enough to make them number 2 or number 1, even decreasing that lead from number 3 to number 2 is a huge deal.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Image will do even better, but it's not taking down Marvel or DC. Tried or no tried? Is that what he means? No tired or tired or not tired, superheroes will always rock. And they, Marvel and DC, have the legendary milkshake who will bring most of us to the yard.
I didn't know how to put it, Herm. I didn't know how to put it, but
that's a great point. Oh yeah. Image and Boom are farms for Hollywood. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I mean, like, more power to them, because hey,
yeah,
like, more power to them for being farms for Hollywood, because it's like they already have that for Image or for Marvel and DC. So like, hey, if there's awesome, compelling stories that are bound for this big screen, I don't care. Write it. As long as it's a good story with good characters, I don't care what it feels like. Just put it out.
Absolutely. Freaky Louie in the house station. What's going on, Freaky Louie? My man Hood Rat Comic Podcast in the house station. What's going on? Is going on, and there was a stall selling comic books. One stall. Oh, look at that. Cardiff Comic Con is ongoing, and there was one stall selling comics. Damn, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It's not a Comic Con, I guess.
Oh man, but yeah, man, that's our news. Thanks everybody for their insight, their awesome opinions on this thing. Again, there wasn't much news. New York Comic Con was last weekend, but I figured we didn't get to have our take on that when that was going on, because we had our show going on. But yeah, one last thing before we get out of here. Oh no, as a matter of fact, Nick, did you want to do a little something with our guests?
Maybe super quick. We'll do a super quick.
All right,
last part. Quick. Yeah, I'll just do this one page because this is like the most ridiculous one. So we know. So we talked about Bronze Age before. With you have a really cool segment on your show, or you have a really cool show rather, where you talk about books to buy now or not to buy now, or like top 5 books not to buy at this moment. And typically, it has to do with like the flavor of the week, right? Like whatever one is kind of hot right now. Like, is this the best time to buy this, or should you wait? And so, like, it's the best advice in the world. Like I said, it's made me put my card back many times, and it's just really important information, I think. So I went over on a popular comic retailer's website and I pulled up some of the exclusives that are on here right now. And I wanted to get your opinion on which ones do you think might be good ones to get right now and which ones not to get right now. And the answer might be none of them, but I wanted to see was there any exclusives that you happen to come across from any of the news outlets, any of the publishers, any of the retailers, whatever. Are there any exclusives that people should be looking at right now, in your opinion, or are they all just sit, wait, and watch it bake?
It's interesting. With this is such a a strange one for me that I'm going to try to avoid talking about this one specifically because I have, and I'll explain because I'll explain it. I don't like to call out individual like retailers or whatever too often when it comes to this kind of stuff. But the logo books I think are, look, if it's your flavor and that's what you love, awesome. Buy them up, make sure you order them. But there's a lot of those coming out. It's become a trend and I'm personally not into them. I could pick out 2 or 3 that I really liked. But yeah, when you're talking about just exclusives in general and all the different retailers out there, here's where I've settled on exclusives. People that are speculators and they're treating it like, hey, we have potential here to buy the next super hot book. I think that was true in 2021. I think that was true in 2020 with some of the exclusives before that. I think the secret's kind of out on what exclusives are. I think, a lot of people know now that if you order thousands of copies of a particular issue and that copy tends to have ratios, that retailer is then getting tons of those ratios and they're able to kind of subsidize their sales of the exclusive that may not hit by selling those ratios. But with the speculator market kind of down right now, that secret's kind of exposed. And I think that people aren't really latching onto them for speculation purposes the way they used to. Now, that said, the way I treat exclusives for me personally as a collector is if I love the cover and I can justify paying the extra money for it, I will buy it. A couple of recent examples for me, Mike Mayhew, who for a long time, I did not enjoy a lot of Mayhew's art because it was becoming a little too digital for me. And I enjoyed his more painted style. That's just me personally.
Right.
He did a Bo-Katan cover for Mandalorian, which is her first full appearance in a comic, kind of. And I love that cover he did for that. And he's doing a Baroness cover. I have his old Baroness cover he did that was amazing. So I love the art, so I'm going to support that. That the Baroness one is for the new G.I. Joe 301 coming from Skybound. And then actually Bird City Comics I think they sold out finally in like a day. They're doing an homage to Torchy Comics on one of it's a Carla Cohen cover, and it is drop dead gorgeous art. And I love the original. I know Laura over at Bird City loves the original. She's who turned me on to it. So I picked up a copy of the original back about a year ago, and then I ordered a slab for this thing because I think it's amazing. It's stunning artwork. And when it comes to if you're looking at investment purposes or if you're looking at long term, how's this stuff gonna do? Artwork is really the thing I would look at. If it's a key book and you happen to have amazing artwork on an exclusive, that will stick in people's minds for a long time. But also when it comes to just the artwork itself, there are people that, we're a lot of cover collectors these days, right? So if it looks really unique and really special, that is kind of when I would get interested when it comes to this stuff. But so much of it, you have the same cover artist doing the same thing over and over again. Like, hey, look, I love Art Germ. I love Warren Liu. I love J. Scott Campbell. But it's kind of like I was talking about Peach Momoko earlier in the show. They're kind of gotten to the point where their stuff is so samey every time it comes out that it needs to be something, unique and different. Adam Hughes can be thrown in that conversation. For years, Adam Hughes was putting out pretty bland work, and I feel like he's stepped it up the last few years and he's kind of gotten back into it. But yeah, that's kind of, for me, I really caution against people because it's also more expensive, right? Like, generally any exclusive is going to be about 10 times or close to that, the cost of a regular cover price of a retail cover.
Right.
Yeah.
So people go broke like collecting these things, or they I gotta have them all. There's a lot of that comic book collector mentality out there, and that's a lot of what I kind of try to make people think about FOMO, try to make them think about, how are you going to view your collection in 5 years when you collected all these books right now? Are you going to be ecstatic that you have, and I'm not trying to call them out on purpose, every big time collectibles logo foil book? Are you going to be super happy about that? Or are you going to wish that you'd put that money into a new car or a new whatever that you enjoy, or a Silver Age key that you might enjoy for your favorite series? And those are the kind of questions I want people to ask. And if the answer is yes, I want all those big time collectible foils, that's fucking awesome. Great. Go out and buy them. But if the answer is, I wish I'd done something different with that money, well, stop yourself ahead of time and really consider what's going to happen. The other thing is, a lot of these exclusives, go buy them for less on eBay 6 months from now. If you know, if you really are looking to save money. Now, if you want to support the shop, you want to support the artist, you want to support the title, by all means, buy them, you know, pre-order them, all that kind of stuff. But I think a lot of people get burned on these.
Oh yeah. No, thanks for that, man. That's really good points on these, because this was a talking point. You know, this was a thing that was happening in our community. There were people that were posting, "Oh my God, all the foils exclusives at New York Comic Con, I can't afford them." Or other people were saying what you were saying a little bit, with like, "Oh man, whatever. They'll be around in 6 months for cheaper or whatever." It is something that people talk about, so I'm glad you said that.
Well, and you know what? I need to say one more thing too, because people will point that people that are smart speculators will point this out. If you really know your stuff and you know your audience, yeah, you can be Babe Ruth playing baseball and you can call your shot. Like, there are certain exclusives that you just know are going to do really well. Some of the Transformer stuff, some of the NYCC stuff was that way for sure. There's been some other ones that are like that too. So I don't want to like go out there and say that it's impossible to make money doing that if that's what your goal is. You definitely can. But here's the thing. Most people are not going to have success doing that. That's what I want to caution against.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I like what you said about think about your collection in a few years, because I'm kind of going through that. You know, when I got into this, I went crazy. I mean, the guys could tell you, I was buying everything, every variant, every little horror book, every little indie #1 I could think of, you know, first appearance cover, second printings and stuff like that. And quite recently, I have to move, right? So now I got to reallocate funds. I can't collect the comics I used to. But not only that, I got to move all this shit, right? Yeah. I gotta find a way to get this to another place. And I'm looking at the boxes and I'm looking at the books, and I got to tell you, maybe about half of it is worth saving. The other half is like, I could leave it. And then when I start thinking about that, I start thinking, damn, I wasted a lot of money. I just really did throw away a lot of money here, like, because I can't get rid of it. It's hard to get rid of, at least not at the speed that I'd like to get rid of it. And if I do get rid of it at a reasonably fast speed, I'm only going to get 10% of what I spent.
Right, man. I mean, I did a lot of that over the last few years. Like, I'll be honest, I bought a lot of stuff, you know, during the boom that I am now looking at like, well, I'm never going to get the money I pay. I mean, not never, maybe 30 years from now or something. But realistically, like if you're thinking that far ahead, the storage space that, you know, the supplies cost, you sink into those things, those have real costs too. And most likely a lot of those things, you know, what are the odds that somebody's going to give a crap about the 15th Marvel exclusive for some, you know, Moon Knight book 30 years from now? Really, really low. Really low.
No, absolutely. And I don't want to feel like I wasted a lot of money. I don't want to have that feeling again where I'm looking at this stuff and I'm saying, Jesus Christ, really? You bought this? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so now I'm trying to make more focus, more, like you said, think of the future. Is this how I feel just at the moment? Do you really need that Miss Minutes cover? I mean, she's flavor of the month. You don't need Miss Minutes right now. So yeah, decisions like that. But yeah, thanks, Bronze Age for giving us your opinion on the Marvel Comic Con, the variants, all the variants there. But yeah, let's get into this last thing that we love doing here. It's called the blaming. It's basically a glorified show and tell where we just show off a bunch of our stuff that we got in the week, or just things that we want to show off. We call it the blaming because you might blame one of us for that hole in your wallet. After you see Bronze Age shows, you're going to be like, Jesus Christ, now I got to go on eBay. Damn it, Bronze Age, why did you do that to me? Why are you showing me this stuff? But yeah, let's get into the blaming. But before we do that, let me play this little clip right here.
Why don't I own this? Why don't I own this?
And I'm gonna set it off this time. Usually I end the shows, but I had said last show, I don't know if you guys saw, but I'm taking sort of a hiatus from collecting comic books. Like I said, I got to move out of here, and I really got to allocate my funds in the right place. And just buying comic books doesn't seem right right now. It doesn't feel right, when you're trying to get things done. But that doesn't mean I didn't get anything. It doesn't mean I didn't get anything. Of course, I still collect my Transformers, and I did get a cool figure in this week. So that's basically what I'm going to show off. Basically,
Ooh, I know what this is.
I got Rise of the Beast, Optimus Primal, man. This is a Studio Series version. So this is supposed to be the most accurate, most, you know what I mean? Best version of the character. And it was $50. So it better be the best goddamn version of the character. But he is cool. He did come out really neat. Let me make myself big here.
Yeah, you have to with that thing.
There we go. Look at that, man.
That's awesome.
Look at that face sculpt. Of course, he can do like the, on the fours there.
Oh, cool.
Doing a terrible job at this, but yeah, and whatever. Optimus Primal. There we go. Beautiful.
Hell yeah.
Gary.
That's great.
So yeah, that's my blaming. Nick, what do you got for us?
Well, this was we usually don't talk about like the prices and stuff, but I don't want to brag. This was $5. This is my Hasbro package free or plastic free package, authentic Optimus Primal from Dollar Tree.
Nice.
This is it's studio accurate. What did you say?
He's not too far away from the cartoon though.
It's still in its package. And
Nice.
yeah, I'm gonna leave this in the package. I'm gonna get one of those cases that you can like put crap in, like I don't know, it'll probably fit in a Pops case. So that'll be pretty cool. I have to show off my lame Transformer stuff too. Whenever I'm Dollar General Transformer collector. That's my thing. If you didn't know,
Hey, that's not a bad niche, Nick. That's not a bad
it's
niche.
not.
You never
I got
know.
a whole freaking
Yeah.
talk about Blamephable. Christ. So they have two different versions. This actually in the box is a little bit newer. They usually don't have it like in a full box. They usually have like an open case. So this is new to me. But when I went there last time, they had that and they had Wheeljack. And so these are just a couple dollars more, but I got Wheeljack on here. And I'm starting to collect these. I don't know why. Just because of you, I think. And it's like a very low entry fee to get into like the Dollar General one. So I got like a whole freaking shelf of these damn things. And I need to figure out what,
bro. They cover every price range you
I
can
know.
think of. From
Bet
$5
you didn't know they were in
up to
Dollar Tree.
$100.
That's right. Then we talked about Geiger 80-page giant. Definitely check this out because it has like I don't know 9 or 10 different preview stories in here. So if you want to get a little hint about what the next universe is going to look like, it's all in here, including like the Redcoat series and stuff. And like Bryan Hitch is actually doing some pretty good stuff in here for Redcoat. And so you get to see what's going on. So you can get a leg up on what they're doing over in the Geiger universe. Daniel Klaus put out Monica recently, but I went back and got Ghost World because I don't have this. So I went ahead and got this one from Fantagraphics. I have a video on my playlist for how to get cheap trades. It's essentially knowing how to use eBay to the full advantage to getting these kinds of things for like $2, $3. And it's nothing like world breaking, but like as soon as you know that hack, you can get tons and tons of stuff on the cheap. And this is like a 9th softcover edition, May 2002. Incredible. Yeah. But yeah, Ghost World. So we got that one.
That's a great hack, by the way. I love that hack. I never even thought of that. Like getting the trades on like used and stuff, like from libraries. They have all the stamps and stuff like that, but we're talking about $1. They're complete.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I paid maybe $4 or $5 for this, which is half retail, which is not like a huge savings, but you do that 12.5 times and you're like way ahead, right? There's that. Hip Hop Family Tree Omnibus, Ed Piscor.
Oh, that wasn't cheap. That wasn't cheap.
It wasn't, but I bring it up because it's 24% off on Amazon right now. So if you're into this and you want it, 24% off on Instagram on Amazon right now. Yeah. I'm trying to sell Ed's book for him, right? And so an amazing collection of hip hop between 73 and 85. This is all 4
Dude,
volume.
is that on the newsprint too? In the hardcover?
What was your question just now?
Is that the newsprint too inside of the hardcover?
So it's like faux newsprint.
Okay.
It has the actual. I don't know what the paper is, but it's not newsprint, but it's damn close, and it looks really amazing. All volumes. It's just a beautiful, beautiful book, gold inlay and everything. So definitely check out that. Dude's putting some crazy work in. So I love that. Two more things. We have the Return of Billy the Kid. Issue number 6
nice.
just came out. I got this via Kickstarter, so it's not out for like open order or anything like that. But if you participate in the Kickstarter, you got your copy probably this past week. I read it. It'll be on Nick at Night tonight with the other books that came out that I got this week. So really excited for Billy the Kid to come back out. And then last but not least, Comics Curing Cancer. Last year, I participated, and from Cardboard Crazies, I actually got this. Maybe this was 2 years ago. I got this. This was a sketch variant.
Yeah, I saw that.
Glow in the dark Hulk, zombified Hulk. So pitch black. You got your little black lights and whatnot. This whole thing lights up, and it is crazy good.
That is
and
awesome,
I got that
dude.
Cardboard Crazies cert as well, 1 of 1 from Chris. And this is a very, very amazing cover. And
that's dope.
I love, yeah, it is so cool. It won't win you anything on Comic-Gories. I can tell you that for damn sure, but it's a cool cover nonetheless. So
yeah,
man, that's what I got this week.
All right, man. That is awesome, dude.
Thanks.
Manny, man, what do you got for us?
Boom. All right, I gotta get into the right mindset here.
All right. Hey, buddy. Are you ready, friend, in that big, look at me. So, I was so busy getting these graphics together, I didn't grab my stuff, but I've got some things to share. So, during this very stream, and Bronze Age Nerd talked about the IP wars. No one expected Dynamite to come swinging out of the gate with Gargoyle and Darkly Duck in the way that they did, which caused my man Phable to get real defensive about Robert Kirkman and Transformers and talk about it like 70 times. But nobody is talking about the Cowboys of New Mesa.
Nice, dude.
This amazing series ran on ABC for 2 entire seasons and also spawned 2 volumes of comics from Marvel. Or Archie is what I meant to say. We also talked about Star Wars because nobody gives a shit if it comes from Marvel or from Dark Horse. So, I have here
Dude.
Star Wars Unleashed has been a choice exclusive. That shit standing at 7.5 inches tall. While we're on the topic of exclusives, this is also the Darth Vader Unmasked.
Wow.
This little beauty came out in 2005 and was also a retailer exclusive, though only in packaging. This was a variant cover for a toy. Any toys not to be underdone, also released. This Darth Vader has been figure. Again, the only difference was a cylindrical package. But did I buy both versions? You bet your ass I did. And last but not least, we talked about the Massive Verse. And the Massive Verse, we all know, is a spin-off of Power Rangers. Now, you could go with the authentic Power Rangers. However, let's stick to the Massive Verse thing and pull out the Massive Verse version of said Power Rangers. We have the big Beetle boards.
Oh, those
You
are cool.
watched this show as a kid. You were like, I really like Ghosts of Dracula and the Wolfman. But I also like Power Rangers. How do we combine them in a way that makes very little sense? This show answered that question.
And
Yeah.
that is my blaming, y'all.
Wow. Okay.
All right. My man, Bronze Age, man, bring us home, brother. What do you got for us?
Well, you know what? There's been so much Transformers talk. I had not planned on showing this, but luckily it was within reach. So I did get this
Oh!
back in September for my birthday. If you're not familiar with the crossover ones, they're really cool.
Hell yeah.
And it's actually speaking of the tips about being on sale, it's been on sale on Amazon right now, like post Prime days for close to half of what it used to go for. So I think you can get it for like 55 if you keep kind of watching it.
Damn it! Don't tell me that. I paid
There you go,
$4
Phable.
for that thing.
yeah, exactly. But I wanted to show. So what I grabbed when I learned we were doing this on the show is some stuff from a collection I picked up. I picked up my first collection ever recently. Even though I'm trying to get rid of comics, it was just like one of those things where a friend hit you up. And he's like, "Hey, I got a bunch of comics sitting in my garage." So I grabbed. I showed this earlier. Got
Nice.
the Blade from the 90s, and the best thing is some of these comics are in high grade. So this is definitely going to come back a 9.8. So I'm going to read that and then I'm going to submit it.
That's awesome.
Couple of fantastic books that I already had these, but these are in much higher condition.
Yeah.
So J. Scott Campbell. And then, of course, the one that everybody cares about.
Yeah, you got it. Nice.
That was such a great cover. That's so great. It's a story all in one cover. It's perfect.
We talked about Star Wars. He had the first General Grievous in that collection.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. I wouldn't normally show Spidey 2099, but it is a newsstand, and this is also probably a 9.8.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it looks
so
great.
that's kind of cool.
Wow.
This wasn't from that collection. I got this at Rose City Comic Con from a vendor that I really enjoy.
Oh,
nice.
Worldwide.
Nice.
Yeah. I already have an Ultimate Fallout 4 that's triple signed, so I thought that would be like a nice pairing to go with that.
Yeah, for sure.
This is from the collection I grabbed. First Lady Deadpool. See, my dark horse theory is everyone says Taylor Swift is going to play Dazzler. What if she's Lady Deadpool? Wouldn't that be cool? Throw everybody off a little bit. Or Blake Lively, she could be her too.
Yeah.
Picked this up a while ago. Got to show that.
I've been hunting that book. We had one at my shop, and I passed on it.
Yeah, man. I was really fortunate to get it.
When did that come out?
88, I believe.
80s, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. This is from the collection I picked up. First meeting of Deadpool and Spider-Man.
Nice.
Oh wow, first meeting. Okay.
Yeah, which I'm not normally into that, but that book is worth a lot more than I expected. So
yeah, those are weirdly expensive.
Good for spooky month. We got some Marvel Zombies.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of Kirkman earlier, kind of trying to keep everything in the theme here. This is probably the second nicest book I picked up in that collection.
Nice. Oh yeah.
Spider-Man Noir.
Do you have a clear board on that?
I do.
Nice. I gotta get into that game.
And then easily the best book I picked up from that collection, it was not the entire run, issues 1 through 10, and a really, really nice high grade copy.
First
appearance with Ahsoka. And yeah, it's also a board on that as well.
It.
It's gonna need some love. There's some spine stresses and stuff like that, but they're all pressable except for maybe one little spine tick that I wonder if they'll notice. I probably will, knowing my luck. But yeah, other than that. But there's actually one other thing. Could I have a couple more minutes to talk about something?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So I really don't want to take any attention away from C3, Comics Curing Cancer. In fact, I've been trying to support it as much as I can. So this weekend, please focus on Comics Curing Cancer and C3. But every show I go on between a week ago and November 11th. November 11th is Veterans Day, and I'm doing a charity event. It's kind of the next charity event. Like I said, this weekend, please focus on Comics Curing Cancer.
Oh yeah.
After that, though, I'm doing my event. It's called Heroes for Heroes. It's my second year doing it.
Yep.
And I'm an official partner with a charity called Mission 22. Mission 22 is a veterans charity founded by veterans, mostly employing veterans or their family members. And it is essentially an organization that primarily tries to deal with the pandemic of veteran suicide and preventing that by providing things like access to therapy or other types of methods to give veterans a resource that they can use to find some relief and hopefully prevent that from happening. So this is my second year doing it. Last year we raised over $1,800, and it was just me doing it by myself with a bunch of partners sending in stuff. I have a huge goal this year. I have some original art. The one I'll show off here. This is original art from Ron Garney.
Wow.
Ooh, nice.
Damn.
Standing over one of his victims there.
So cool.
I have on the way right now, I have original art from Sean Chen doing a Wolverine sketch. Some pieces from Scott Eaton featuring Exo Manowar. I have a signed X-Men poster from Arthur Adams. I have Randy Emberlin signed sketches, Chris Warner signed sketches, trades from Greg Rucka that are signed, like a New 52 omnibus, some really cool stuff. Original sketches from community members. If you guys know Chris from Comic Tropes, he's a pretty big YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
He's sending in a sketch. Sarah Frazetta is going to send in some stuff.
Nice.
And I'm still reaching out. I'm actually tomorrow or Monday. I got to figure out the timing. I'm going to do a stream to kind of announce this. I wanted to wait until C3 was over. I didn't want to steal any of their thunder. Again, if you're watching this, please go support them. This weekend is about them, and it's a great cause. After that, if you still are feeling generous and you want to talk about doing some stuff to support Heroes for Heroes, I'd love to talk to everybody about that. And I think it's going to be a really cool event. That's going to be on November 11th on Veterans Day, which is a Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific time on my channel. I'm going to start the live auction. I might have some stuff leading up to that, like on my Instagram or some claim sales, that kind of stuff. But I do have an official donation page with Mission 22, so people can go donate on there and all that kind of stuff. So
you gotta send me the information for that so I could put it into the thing for sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah,
Will do, man.
Oh yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, thanks, man. I was definitely gonna ask you what you had going on, so I'm glad you went into it. That's awesome, dude. I'm definitely gonna try to catch some of that for sure.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, send the information. Manny, man, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Anything you got going on? You want to let the people know before we get out of here?
I have a channel. It has stuff on it. Don't watch it. Go and watch. Go honestly, guys. Go watch Stu, Dr. Doom's Fan Club, and Supreme Clientele.
Hell yeah.
Right? That is a fucking amazing show. They slummed it with me this week. And I thank them for it, because people see me and they're like, that man don't know comics. And then I go on shows like this and that, and they're like, that man really don't know comics. Who the fuck keeps scheduling him? But the truth is, Missing Link and Stu Dr. Doom's Fan Club, super passionate about comics, super knowledgeable about comics. They have amazing conversations you don't want to miss. A single episode. They're at episode 16 right now, which means there's 15. You didn't have nothing to do tomorrow. Don't act like you had something. I see you. I see you didn't have plans. Go watch all 15 episodes of Supreme Clientele over on Stu Dr. Doom's Fan Club. You will not be disappointed. Go check them out.
Hell yeah. Nick, anything coming up?
What's coming up? Just the normal stuff. We got Nick at Night, weekly comic book review show coming out tonight, 7 p.m. Central Time. So if you're not a Wednesday warrior, you want to know what books are coming out, you want to know what they're like, you can hop on there. And I think I covered probably around 15 titles that came out this past week. Half of them are Image Comics. So if you're into the indie game, man, this is a place for you. Kind of blanking on everything else right now. But I have FOC, new release stuff, haul videos, YouTube shorts, how to get the comic books today, key comic breakdowns, all that stuff. I take all the books off my wall right here. I throw them down, top-down view, go through the stories so we can actually enjoy the stories behind these beautiful covers. And that's the name of the game right now. So, you can catch me on the Blamephable show, man. Absolutely. On Saturdays.
Thanks for hanging out with me, man. Thanks for doing the show with me. I love doing the show with you. Bronze Age Nerd, man. Thank you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. It was a lot of fun. You had a lot of great points. I can't wait to actually catch it on the rewind so I could just dissect the stuff you were saying even more. But man, thanks for giving us your time.
Man, it was an honor. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he said, definitely catch C3 and all the stuff they're doing out there right now, and definitely come back in the coming weeks for my man Bronze Age Nerd doing his thing for the veterans, man. That's going to be awesome. Definitely, like I said, send me the info on that so I can start promoting on my page and stuff like that.
100%.
And of course, you can catch me here, me and Nick here, and Manny. He's technically part of the show. He might not be here every week, but Manny's part of the show. He produces it. And Brother Joe, of course, same thing. Every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we're going to have Chris, Lost in Comics, is going to join us next week. That's going to be an awesome show. I love Chris. Love hanging out with him. So come back next week. Check us out for that. Of course, like I told you, go check out all the Horror Fest stuff, Dylan's Horror Show, Blood Splatter Chatter, and Pop Culture Philosophers. Guys, it's been a pleasure. There's only one thing left to say. Be excellent to each other. And party on, dudes. Station.
Station, guys.